still going on defrost.
Yeah, so here's two things. If it wasn't defrosting, yes, it would build up ice like this. But if the fan failed, you might get a little bit of extra ice on the evaporator, but when it went into defrost, it's going to melt the ice off the evaporator. So it wouldn't be so bad that all these openings here, you got 4 openings, will be all completely solid ice. And everything else here in the center of the evaporator would be solid ice. So let me just go a little bit farther in here now. Would melt everything. So this video is posted up on the website, and I want to show you this evaporator here. Can you guys see that evaporator clearly? Yes? No?
Yes, we can see it. Maybe a little bit farther, but it's visible.
Okay, so what if I screenshot it and then zoomed in on it? And there's a reason why I want you to see it. Let me see if I can capture it. New. Let's do this. Capture this evaporator. Okay, edit, copy. Let me get it into my paint tool so I can zoom in. I want to ask you guys a question. Might be a little blurry, but here's the evaporator. Where's the defrost heater on this refrigerator? Where's the defrost thermostat? Now, I do see here, this is the thermistor, the evaporator thermistor to tell the refrigerator temperature of the evaporator. But does anybody see a defrost heater or defrost thermostat on this unit?
No, we cannot see it. If it might be somewhere, but I cannot see it.
Okay, well, you're right. This refrigerator does not have a defrost heater in the refrigerator section. They would wrap it around the freezer opening and down around the fridge opening. This is where the door gaskets would be, and they try to keep the edge of the cabinet warm so it doesn't sweat or drip water when there's high humidity. So this line here goes into the back of the refrigerator to allow more heat off. We go into a dryer filter. Then we go into your step valve here. So this is the valve that determines which evaporator is going to get the refrigerant this time. Is it the freezer on the bottom? Or actually the refrigerator on the bottom and the freezer on the top. In the refrigerator we have, it's the opposite way. But these are the evaporators. Okay? And then you got your suction line running back. Now both evaporators do not run at the same time. So let's take a look at something here. Three-way valve. Why is it called a three-way valve? How many openings does it have to go to? Anybody got an idea? You're all so quiet, I don't know if I'm talking. So, your three-way valve.
One to the
Go ahead.
One to the refrigerator, one to the freezer, and one would be all open, wouldn't it?
That's correct. Now, here is the control board, and I'm going to show you some close-up pictures. But if you look at number 2 here, it says circuit for controlling the step valve, the three-way valve. That is number 2, which is located right here. This is the chip that controls it. Now, you're really not going to do anything with that chip, just so you know how it's controlled, because the actual plug that the valve goes into is right here on the top. 15-step valve B, and I sort of zoomed in on it for you here so you could see it a little better. Now notice it says pins 1 through 10 are open. That is this here. There's nothing connected here. So number 1 is this one here. And if we look at these plugs, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, pin, this is 11. The last pin, even though it's there, That's number 10. There's nothing connected to it. They say it's open, and that means there's not connected. So you got like 9 outside, and then this one here is probably because they had a 6-pin plug and they've soldered it to the board that way. And I'm going to tell you what this means and how to test it. So here's a close-up of that plug, and here it is on the schematic right here in the bottom below the plug, and here it is on the full schematic on the refrigerator. We're going to talk about this in a minute. Question: if a customer calls you out and tells you the refrigerator section froze your filter and your filter housing cracked and the drinks in the refrigerator are freezing, now what would you do to fix that problem? Richard, didn't you just say that evaporator didn't have a defrost? That is correct. But the evaporator sensor, the one that senses the evaporator itself, and that was in that video. I froze it in that screenshot. Let me see if I still have it open. That's this white one right here on the top of the evaporator. That's what they're calling the defrost thermistor. And you're saying, but it don't have a defrost cycle. Let's go back to how this thing functions and operates, and then we'll move on to how do we troubleshoot this? What are we supposed to look at? Now, look at this step valve. I'm going to go ahead and expand this diagram for you to see it, because I want you to understand what this diagram is telling you and how do you test it if you're going to make any tests. So there's 2 solenoids for A and there's 2 solenoids for B. So the power comes in here, goes through the coil halfway, and then comes here and back out. Just for an example, I'm sorry, my drawing is horrible. It's supposed to go 4 to 4. But that's how it flows. I stole this video from Miss Ward, but she did a walkthrough of my shop. So this is her. I don't know if there's audio, but this is her with that same refrigerator in my office. And if you want to see the shop, that she has a whole video. Her website's called Solid Steps to Wealth. So one thing that I want to show you here, let me pause the video for a second, is she went in to the refrigerator, and if you don't know how to do it, right now this is the home screen of the it's basically like an Android tablet. And she swipes it left until she sees something called Fridge Manager. Now, I'm going to do a full video on this, where you can see it without her moving. But see, she's swiping left until she sees something here that says Fridge Manager. When you get to this screen, you want to type on it or tap on it to open it up to full screen. Now that you open on full screen, up here at the top, you tap back and forth. One tap here in this corner, and then the opposite corner you tap back and forth, and it's like 3 or 4 taps on either side will get you into diagnostics. Watch. So here you got something called fridge function test, panel function test, and when you go here, engineering mode, and again, this isn't the most professional video. Like I said, I copied from her. Right here we have self-diagnostics. We have error history. We got load status, system info, model operation, force run. Force run is where we're going to energize one or the other evaporator solenoid valve or the step valve to see if the freon's going. Self-diagnostics, it'll run and test all the sensors and test everything that it can test on its own and give you a pass-fail type information to say, no, this sensor here passed the information, this one didn't. Error history, whenever you work on one of these refrigerators, the first thing you really want to do is look at the error history, and I recommend take your phone and take a picture of the error history. Then in error history, clear out any of the errors, then run through self-diagnostics that actually caused this problem in the first place. And if you're working on some compressor and you change a compressor with a step valve, you could knock the wires off too, not paying any attention to it, and then cause another problem. But here we were looking at it as a bad thermistor or a bad control board, when really it was the step valve not working. And how did we come to that conclusion, or how did we troubleshoot that out? So that's what the class was about today. I don't know if any of you guys have any other questions. I'd be more than happy to answer your questions, but that'd be it for today.
Great presentation there, Rick.
Well, thank you very much, sir. And
Thank you, Rick. We'll be looking forward to see the video, though.
yes, and I'll upload this
Good
video.
information.
I'll upload this video later tonight. I just gotta clean it up a little bit and put a front title video on it, and I'll put it on the website. I thank you guys for coming, and if you don't have any other questions, you have a good weekend and enjoy the Super Bowl.
All right.
You too, Rick. Thank you.
Go Chiefs.
Have a great weekend.